An Atlanta rapper named Blac Youngsta found himself thrown on the ground outside of a bank, being handcuffed, his entire group being handcuffed, guns pointed at his head. Take a look at this picture. And it turns out it makes all the sense in the world because that guy had $200,000 on him. Who the hell did he rob to get those $200,000? Oh, he took it out of his bank account because he is a millionaire who has a lot of money and wanted to buy a car with cash, which is actually pretty financially responsible, I think. And he took out his money and then was immediately arrested by the police. Isn't this amazing that this can still happen in 2015? The idea that you could be young and black and rich, apparently unacceptable, that you could potentially be an artist, an entertainer of some sort. This is in Atlanta. I have been led to believe that in the movie side and the music side, there's a lot of rich people. Some of them happen to be also young and black. And yet, he goes into the bank where he has an account. Probably not for the first time he goes into his bank where he keeps his hundreds of thousands of dollars. Does the withdrawal, $200,000, which is admittedly a lot of money, but cars cost a lot of money apparently when you want a really nice one in Atlanta. They called into the police from the bank. It's his account. He goes there to get his money. And they call it in, shit, send the cops. Someone just withdrew money. So they throw him on the ground. They don't go up to him and ask him some questions like, hey, you know, we got a call, blah, blah, blah. They throw him to the ground. They handcuff him, his whole group. They put guns to his head. By the way, so they look into it. Obviously, there's no crime. I think that should go without saying. They look into it, and then they say, okay, you're going to have to actually go. We're going to take half the money. We're going to confiscate $100,000. You're going to need to come down to police headquarters after it's been processed as evidence. This is after they found out there was no crime being committed. They still took $100,000. What do you think the chances are he actually ends up getting that $100,000? Or all of it, at the very least. He's in an upscale neighborhood. He is a very wealthy man. He's probably going to end up losing a significant amount of that money because he made the mistake of thinking that in a free country, after you've worked and earned that money, that you could actually spend it on an extremely expensive car. His whole group was handcuffed. He has his identification, man. If you were stopped outside of a bank, you'd just taken out a deposit, don't you think the police would say, okay, could we see your ID? Maybe we'll even bring you in there so that they can check it against the information in your bank account. They don't feel any need to do that. It's immediately suspect, not just from the police's side. And look, the police are responding to a call. They've been told that they think a crime is being committed. It's not like the cops just saw him come out. So that's at least in the favor of the cops there. But the bank is so immediately suspicious of somebody withdrawing money. Do you think that this would have happened if he had not been black? I shouldn't have to ask that question because that question has been asked in so many cases where obviously the answer is that no, he would not have been treated that way if he was wearing a Brooks Brothers suit, and if he had had less melanin in his skin, he would have been able to go and buy the Ferrari or the expensive BMW, or maybe he's going for a Model S, I don't know. He would have been able to do it without being harassed, but even though it's 2015, and we know somewhere in our brains that there are actually rich black people, we still gotta throw them down in a parking lot, make them look like crazy criminals in front of all the other people who go to the same bank as them in the upscale neighborhood that they go to, and gotta make them feel like they are second-class citizens at best. It's 2015, man, and there are still there are people in this country that don't believe that there's any racism, that don't think that there's any discrimination. You can be shot for being a kid holding a toy gun if you're the correct race. You can be thrown down and arrested and have tons of your money confiscated simply because you made the mistake of banking in America if you're the wrong skin color. When are we going to push past this, man? It's been hundreds of years, and we can't simply let people live their lives. But no, Black Lives Matter is totally wrong to think that there is some systemic discrimination in this country. They have no legitimate point, no valid point. How would you feel if this was your day-to-day existence? I honestly don't know. I'm trying to be empathic, but I have never had to deal with this sort of situation. I grew up in Bridgeport, Connecticut, which is an extremely diverse, relatively low economic status area. And so I at least get to see it on the periphery. But simply because of the color of my skin, I wasn't targeted with it in the same way that so many of my friends who were pulled over after absolute bullshit, who were told, oh, there was somebody matching your description when they don't look anything like them, the number of people in the car are different, the car is different. That's simply how people are treated in America, man. Now, hopefully, he's going to get all of his money back. He's already said he's taking his business out of that bank. That's the least you should do, man. There's got to be some sort of lawsuit that you can start after this. But it looks like he's doing the right thing, telling them, you don't get my business anymore. I'm going to take my money, put it elsewhere, and then go buy a nice car and probably feel a lot better about the situation.